Hey there, welcome to the Breaking 1000 podcast. I am Mark Brewer. I'm your host today, and I've got Scott Wilson and Hunter Wilson with me. And we're getting a lot of feedback from you guys about how this is helping you grow as a leader and scale what God has you doing in your community and your church. And if that is true, and we do know it's true, could you just do us a favor here and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this particular episode, and share this with your friends and family that are navigating through the same things? Because what it does is I don't understand all of it, but it somehow causes the algorithm to start sharing this with even more people that we might not be personally connected to. So if this is helping you, hit subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll keep helping impact churches all around the nation.
And I love how they're making comments. Make comments, ask us questions, talk about it, because it's helping us to even know to talk about. I mean, even on this, people had asked, hey, y'all did one on growth plan. Can you talk about that growth team even more?
Yeah.
And so that's why we're doing this one.
Well, first of all, I love the way you talked about the algorithm. Maybe we do one where you just talk about algorithm for a whole hour.
I am so good at the algorithm
No, I love
stuff.
that. I think we should do that. That was great. All right, so hey, let's pick up where we left off last time. We talk about growth goals, talk about growth plan, talk about growth team, okay?
Yep.
So in this, we talked about goals are really helping us define where we're heading. We got to get clarity on that first, right? So the goals show us where we're heading. The plans show us how we plan on getting there. And then the team helps us to follow through on that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can skip steps on that. If you're watching this episode and maybe you missed the last one, I don't think you should start with the team before you first try to identify who am I, where am I heading, and therefore what people should be on my team to help me.
So your goals and your plan often start.
It's informing.
It starts informing and unveiling. Okay, then who are the people that I'm going to need to help me get there?
And Dan Sullivan talks about this in his book Who Not How, where he basically is talking about you're not trying to figure out how do I do this? How do I accomplish something I've never accomplished before? Mm-hmm. It's asking who. Who knows what I need to know in order to grow where I want to go?
I like that.
Ooh, that was
that's a good one. You're starting to get very similar to him, where you're doing all these rhyming.
Who
things.
knows where I?
See, you didn't even remember. Hey, so talk to us about this, because you've had a lot of experience and really did a solid job in building this growth team for yourself over the years.
Well, even like we're talking about here, I think one of the things that really hit it for me is when somebody asked me one time, think about somebody who really made a difference in your life, like a hero to you, a coach. Did you have a coach in school? Did you have a teacher that was important to you? Did you have a mentor? So think about it. If you're listening to the podcast right now, think about that person. So I'm going to ask you guys, who's somebody that you're thinking of?
Can I say the name?
Exactly.
Coach Mark Brady.
Yes. Why? What was it about him?
There was something specifically he taught me early on. He said, Brewer, you know what? I've realized what your problem is. You don't know how to win. I'm going to teach you how to win.
Wow.
That was crazy. I'm still talking about it. That was 35, almost 40 years ago.
Huge.
Yeah.
Hunter?
I've had a mentor in my life named Peter, who I've met with for years, that have really just been with me in the trenches in so many highs and lows. And I think just looking back of somebody that's been on the journey with you and helped you to see to define reality of this is really where you're at and this is what God's calling you to next has been just huge for me in my life.
Okay, so both of y'all just named somebody quickly. It came straight to mind. Mm-hmm. Somebody that has made a difference in your life in a way that you didn't get it out of a book. You couldn't get it out of a conference. You couldn't even get it out of a podcast. It was somebody in your life that was further down the road to you in an area. And he said, Brewer, you don't know how to win. I'm going to teach you how to win. That's a mindset shift. Yeah. This guy's talked to you in the moments of your life and said, okay, hey, it's going to be okay. I've been through that. I can help you get through that and do this. That's why we need a team. Mm-hmm. You have blind spots, you have deaf spots, you have dumb spots. All of us do. Blind spots, things you can't see in your life, things that you're not seeing. You don't understand. You're blind to it, okay? Every one of us has that. I don't care who you are. You need a coach. You need a team because you have that. You have deaf spots. You don't know the way you sound. My wife sometimes tells me, man, you said that harsh. I'm going, I didn't feel like I was harsh. That was harsh. I didn't know. I don't hear it that way. That's not how I meant it. And so you need people in your life helping you with that. You got dumb spots, just areas you don't know. things you don't know that can help you. This is why you need a team. The first time I realized I needed a team is when Dr. Chan, I was meeting with him, my mentor, and he asked me, it was early on, he says, Pastor Scott, because he's from India, that's how he says, Pastor Scott, who is on your growth team? And I said, well, Mark's on the team. He's working with us, and Dan's on the team and all this. He goes, those are your staff.
First of all, he wasn't that impressed.
No. Well, he was going, it's not because he wasn't impressed with you. He was basically saying, you're not thinking right. I'm asking you who's on your growth team, and you're talking to me about how you're going to grow the church, not grow yourself. Yep. I'm asking you who's on your personal, as a lead pastor, who's on your team focused on you to help you grow. And I said, well, you. He said, good, I'm on your team. That's right, I'm on your team as this. And then he drew kind of like a circle. He said, okay, I think of you and God in the middle, okay? So me and God at the center of everything.
Like the self.
Like self.
Yourself.
That's me. God's speaking to me. He's obviously the sanctifier. He's the one who's helping to work on me and to develop me and to lead me. Got it. Cool. Who have you surrounded yourself as like a great cloud of witnesses like that, or like a group of people that are wise counsel in your life? And he says, you need to do this lined up with the roles of your life. In other words, you may have a mentor in your life who's really good at helping you with your business, or with like the business or the finances or the giving in the church, but they're not really somebody you want to emulate in how they handle their family. You may have somebody who's going to give you great wisdom on how to handle, discipleship or processes or preaching. And they may be, man, I want to preach like that guy, but I don't want to do my health like that guy.
So you're not saying you got to go find whoever the juggernaut generalist is. Exactly. You're saying you're looking for people that have specificity around a certain skill set or a certain area.
Well,
and
another
that's
way
what
of
you're
saying
targeting.
it is, I can't find a perfect person. It's like,
There are no perfect people, but there's somebody who's further down the road than you in an area who fits in alignment with your personality or what your goal is. What they're doing right now, you know how people go like goals, like young people, don't they do that? They go goals.
Marriage
like that's
goals
marriage
and
goals.
things like that.
Did I do it wrong?
I don't know, but that like
he knows what you're talking about. When they hashtag marriage goals or friendship goals.
Like
I got you. I don't know if they do.
Goals.
But,
just keep going. That's the best way to.
It was in my mind because there were some ladies over at our house, and Jenny had decorated the house, and they were going like goals like that. So that's what was in my head.
All right,
anyway,
good.
Continue.
Now that you said that,
All right.
It's totally different now. It's really good.
Thank you. So what is that guy? That's who I want to be like as a dad. I love that guy as a grandpa, like that. So what I did is I wrote out my roles. Dr. Shane said, write out your roles. Okay. We've already talked about that and your goals. But then now, who is somebody who's further down the road than you, like a hero to you in that area? So I wrote it out. I even have it like a little diagram. I wrote out here, God and me in the middle. And then I have a Christian counselor. That's somebody I want to be strong emotionally and mentally in my life, and I want to be great relationally. And so I have a counselor I go to regularly too. I talk about that a lot, but that's a person on my team. Okay. I have mentors in my life. Dr. Chan was one of them.
Like
coaches, like people that I meet with about being a pastor, how to lead our church, how to grow the church, how to grow myself, how to grow in the areas of tough decisions, all of this. So I have mentors in that. And I have more than just Dr. Chan. At that time, I had other people on there specifically in different areas. Okay. And then I had people who were on my teaching team. So what that was is I had people that were, in the church I pastor, we're right by 2 universities that are Bible schools, Bible universities. And we have like 20, I counted it one time, 25 different professors of Bible in our church. Every week sitting there listening to me preach. And I had heard multiple times that I was the illustration on a Monday in a class about how not to did not exegete correctly. Don't be like
you were
the
doing
pastor
hermeneutics
I was at.
And you needed to be doing homiletics.
Well, I don't know. Okay, but anyway, good try. But I was talking about epistles and I hit the apostles. I don't know. That's right. But the whole point was I needed somebody on my team that had a doctorate in theology that could help me to make sure everything I was doing, look over my message and make sure helping me. I was in alignment. He wasn't writing the message. I wrote the message, but he's giving me feedback. I needed to have other people I knew who were great preachers in my same style. So I'm not trying to be TD Jakes, okay? I'm not trying to be.
Can we do a pause here for a second on that? Because
Yeah.
what you just said, I think, demands a level of humility. When we're talking about building a growth plan, you have to be at a place to say to yourself, I'm not the master of all these things, and I want to grow. And posturing yourself in a humble way and saying, I need other people to see and speak into the things that I just can't see and I just don't know. That's not easy.
No, there's a lot of people I think that don't develop a growth team because they would rather not have to hear the pain or go through the pain and hear the critique. They'd rather stay comfortable in their status quo.
It's very scary to think that that's true, but I know, I mean, we've all navigated through that
Well, guess
personally.
what? I'm going to get pain. I'm going to feel pain staying in status quo because people are going to be telling me, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I've outgrown you. You know, I'd rather be on the pain on the front end of developing and hearing, help me in my blind spots, help me in my deaf spots, help me in my dumb spots, help me.
I think a lot of it just comes down to the posture that you take is, do you think of yourself as the master or do you think of yourself as a student? And are you always a student? Because the student always has something to learn, but the master only thinks of, I have stuff to teach. And you're never going to take a position of receiving critiques if you think you're the master.
Do you value yourself? Do you see yourself as a student? And that becomes a value proposition to you. In other words, if I always have to be the master, then I'm always going to put myself in a room where there's no one who's smarter than me, better, and then I'm always insecure if I'm around those people.
Right.
If I'm always a student, then I value that I may be really good at this, but I always want to learn. So I want to put myself in a room where I'm always not the smartest one.
Yeah,
I want
you used to
learn.
say this and when you were pastoring, I always want to be the lead follower.
Yes.
And so even though you were the leader of the whole church that God had given you to steward, you also regularly communicated, I want to be the lead follower. And I think you're saying another iteration here, I want to be the lead learner. And so that's part of why
Correct.
you dove into building this growth team.
Inside of this, I know like even in this is you would hope that when you're sharing this is like inspiration for like people that you could have on your team. Is that right? Not like you're saying that everybody needs to copy this blueprint.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to determine from your roles.
Yeah.
Your roles may be different than me. Now, I think a lot of lead pastors, we have similar roles.
Yeah.
Okay. Pastors, father, some of you would be grandparents. You have a personal health that you need to maintain, your finances.
Yeah, because
So-
we interrupted you on that. Can you keep going and do like a recap
Yeah, so
of where
I'm
you've
just
been?
doing it as illustration, but I'm thinking most of these hit every single lead
They're
pastor.
likely to
that's-
be part of your growth
and
team.
even people who are in here who aren't a lead
So go-
pastor.
go- start at the
but I have
beginning. You
prayer-
had a-
I had a teaching team.
Yeah.
I was talking about the doctorate, but I also had other people. I wanted to help me to become a better preacher.
Yeah.
You're one of the people. You were one of the people on that team. Y'all read every manuscript I wrote before I ever preached it and heard me preach it beforehand and gave me feedback. That made me a better communicator. Okay. I have a prayer team. That means you say, oh, all church have prayer team. No, I mean, I have a specific prayer team for me and Jenny and our family that are 5 different people in the church who pray for us every day. And if I ever have a need or something going on, I'm always updating them with things going on. And they're praying for me and sending me words of,
It was
here's
super
what I think God's
powerful,
telling
even
me.
when I'm thinking about the people that were on that
Yeah.
prayer team. They took that as a
Very
calling
serious.
from the Lord. Like they were serious about praying and interceding for you
So
guys.
let's talk about that real quick. Your growth team doesn't necessarily all mean they're mentors. Some of them are a prayer team or a teaching team. They're not necessarily mentors. They're people helping you. I need you to pray with me. I need you to help me in this area.
Well,
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's basically whatever is needed to help me grow.
Right.
That's it. So if it's people giving me feedback, if it's people further along than me, if it's people that I'm teaching to help me get better in even teaching it. So it is a mix bag here, but it's whoever needs to be on the team to help me grow.
Keep going.
I
We
had
do
3
keep interrupting you. Because I
It's
don't want
okay.
you to
No,
not
it's great.
hit
It's
these.
great. I have truth friends. Now that may be like people going like, I don't need that on my growth team. Listen, every lead pastor has people all around them who are encouraging them, that they care about them and saying stuff. But there's some lead pastors who do not have a posture that says, I want to hear the truth. I want you to tell me. And so I had 3 close friends. Now I got truth from some people who were giving it to me as a bat over my head and critiquing me, and that's different.
Yeah.
I needed people who were truth friends. They told me the truth to help me because they love me. And so they were people who I had given them direct permission, please help me. Anything you see that you say, hey, you need to be careful with that. Hey, be careful about that. Help me on that. And then I had a financial advisor. Now, why did I do that? Because I saw so many pastors when they got older, they couldn't transition when God was calling them, and it seemed obvious to everyone and probably to them that it was time they were done, but they didn't have any money. And so I wanted to make sure that in my life, so in my late 20s, early 30s, I went and got a financial advisor, and I told him, I want to be set up financially. I want to prioritize my finances in such a way that if God calls me to ever do anything, I'm never going to say I don't have the money to do it.
And you're not going to hinder the church by strapping the church with taking care of your after.
But here's
your
the point.
aftercare.
I don't know how to do that. Now, some pastor may be hearing this right now and you know how to do that. Great. Good for you. I would challenge you too that you probably don't know everything. If you're keeping up with finances that much, you're probably not keeping up with your pastoral. You can't. It's too difficult and too complex. So you need a financial advisor, I would recommend. And then I wanted to physically do well. So I had, CrossFit coach, I had people.
You had a doctor.
I have a doctor.
You had a personal relationship with that was helping target things.
And I got a physical every year. I would go in regularly every 6 months, do blood work. I mean, because I want to make sure I'm taking care of myself the best I know how. So those are now, I have left the best for last, and that's your mom, my wife, Jenny. And I called her True North, that she was at the top. Why? Because here's what would happen. Jenny and I would talk about something, and I'd say, what do you think we ought to do about this? And she'd give her opinion or give her thought. And I'll say, okay, let me just pray about that. We'll get back. And then I would go talk to one of my counselor or talk to one of my mentors. I would talk to somebody else on my growth team and then come to her and say, hey, I changed my mind. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And she goes, well, which other wife did you talk to? In other words, this is me and you making this decision with God, not other people. And so I go, man, I don't know how to handle that. I don't have another wife. We got an argument. So I went to the counselor on my growth team and said, how do I figure this? He said, you need to treat Jenny as True North. What that means is she and you with God, that's how decisions are made for y'all. Okay. She's number one. She's the number one person on your growth team helping you, which, by the way, is a biblical concept of us helping each other in mutual submission to each other for the day we stand before the Lord and hear, well done.
That's the helpmate. That's the complementary gifting set, which it demanded too. I'm just thinking through this because I know people are going, well, I don't know if I can do that. And I'm going, that's a heavy responsibility for Jenny because she now is moving into a space where you're saying you're the True North, and she better be hearing from the Lord. She better be praying. She better be interceding for you. Super powerful.
And I wonder too, is what you're saying that all other roles on my team are treated as information that filters up to her?
Correct. That's what I mean by True North. It goes like this. So like if I have this circle of a growth team around me, right? I'm praying about it. That's God here. I'm asking God to show me. But when I'm looking for counsel, I'll go to Jenny and say, hey, will you be praying with me about this? This is something I feel like I need to work on or I'm trying to figure out. She'll say, yes, I'll pray, but here's my initial thought, And I'll tell her, hey, I'm going to talk to my counselor today about it when I have the meeting where to do that. I'm also going to be meeting with Dr. Chan. Is it okay if I share with them? See how I'm asking permission? It's getting information back for us, not their vote is as important as yours. You get what I'm saying? Or their thoughts.
Because you're one with Jenny. You're not one with Dr. Chan. Correct. You're not one with these guys or these people.
So it was basically the counselor told me what you need to do is when you talk to me, don't come back to her and say, I changed my mind. Say, hey, I got more information from the counselor I wanted to share with you. Hey, I talked to Dr. Chan. Here's what he was thinking we might want to consider.
Research.
Look how I said it.
Yeah.
It's research. Instead of it being, hey, you know how I decided with you? Yeah, what you said is right. I decided you're wrong now after I talked to Dr. Chan. That's a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by True North.
Can I, is that good on that? Okay.
No,
so
great.
I have a couple questions, just people that would be listening to this for the first time and they have to be like, there's no way, I'm skeptical. One is, you're saying that I need to get all of those people at the same time. Like, is that something that you built up or you started out that way?
No, it's built up. And I actually wrote down here kind of the plan of what to do. Is the first thing you need to do is you need to understand you can't get it all at one time, but you've got to first identify what you even need. So start with what we talked about before. What are your roles?
Yeah.
So me as a person, my personal growth, in all those areas, my finances, as a dad, as a pastor, as a preacher, whatever you want to say your roles are, that you think these are the primary roles of my life.
Yeah, but it's probably even going a step deeper, even inside of that, of saying, even with all the roles that I have in my life, I'm only creating a few goals right now.
Yeah.
So the goals in my life, maybe I have 10 roles in my life, but I'm going to create goals in 3 areas, right?
Sure. I would say I would encourage people, this would be my personal, and y'all may want to say that I think you can't have more than 6 roles. I think you need it, probably for me, it was 5. I kind of put 6 in there as pastor and preacher because I needed to work on that, whatever. But I think to have 10 roles is probably too many. So you want to have that. Yes, it could be the goals are where you may want to start with your growth team if that's where you were going. I like that. But I think it's in the roles, it's the places of management in your life that are, I don't want to just have, I need somebody helping me in the role of being a good dad and a good husband, no matter what, if that's my primary goal this time. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying I need to identify what do I need, okay? But then the second thing I'm going to do on that is I'm going to go, I may not know I don't have a Dr. Chan, and I don't have the money to pay a Dr. Chan or this type of deal. Okay, what is it that you need? And if that's the identify, get a preferred profile. What are you looking for in somebody? Do I need somebody to hold me accountable? Do I need somebody to advise me? Do I need somebody to partner with me?
Yeah.
What do I need right now in that role? And then I wrote down, put a preferred profile together, and then think, who is that person that I could ask? And then you go and you ask them and say, what would it look like if I could meet with you, or if we could Zoom monthly, weekly, whatever it is, and ask them?
That's my next question is inside of this. I think people could get caught off guard of saying, there's no way you're meeting with those people every week, right? Like, I'm so busy. How would I meet with 8 people once a week?
I didn't meet with them every week. The cadence would be different. So the counselor would be at least once a month. It could be twice for like 3 or 4 years. It was every other week. Okay. So that cadence just is dependent on what you're going through of how much I need to do that. On the teaching team, that was every week because I've taught every week.
Yeah.
Okay. When it's the prayer team, I contacted them probably once every 3 weeks.
So the cadence is different.
The cadence is different on what it is. I mean, the finance guy I worked with twice a year. I mean, it's not like I'm doing. I mean, once you got the plan, you're running it, unless you have a question.
Right.
So each one, it's not that you're meeting with them on the deal. Dr. Chan was every month. And that was the cadence. So you're figuring out the cadence on it, but you got to tell them what I need from you is I need coaching, or I need a partner, or I need accountability. And then when you're asking them, you may need to ask, hey, what would it look like for us to meet like this on Zoom, or to meet in person for this amount of time? Do you have a fee? What would that be? How can we do that?
You're doing the heavy lifting of front loading the parameters to give them an opportunity to say yes, no, or maybe. You're not just going, hey, can we start meeting here?
Right.
You're saying, here's what I need. Here's what I think this could look like.
And if I was asking somebody, like if I'm a lead pastor and I'm asking another pastor friend that is further down the road, they're older, or they're more experienced or whatever, and I'm asking them to meet with me about being a dad or something, or about being a pastor, whatever it is, then I want to tell them, I'm not asking for everything. I'm asking, can you help me in this role? What would it look like? Could we eat lunch once a month? And that may not even be a fee. They may just say, sure, let's be friends, but I'd like you to mentor me in this area. So it depends on what level. But here's the thing. Anybody who says, if I got to pay somebody to help me, I don't want to, they just don't care. No, that's not how life works. At least to me, is you start moving into a place like Dr. Chan, that was his full-time job. So to ask him, could you give this to me for free? It'd be like somebody saying, could you pastor this church as the lead pastor, but don't get paid?
Even if he's your friend.
Yes. So you've got to determine what that is, and then you make it a priority to be ready when you come to him. We may talk about that in another deal, that how to get the most out of it.
I think we need to do something specific around how to prepare to be mentored.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, let's hit that one later.
But the point is on this is you go ask them, tell them specifically what you're wanting in the area. So you're not saying, teach me everything, and ask what kind of cadence would be okay with them. Could we do that monthly? Could we do that every other month?
Right.
What do you have? And they may tell you, I can't do that, but I can do this, and receive that. Now, some of you may go, well, I don't have any money and I don't have anybody. Well, then start picking somebody who, like for me, Benjamin Hardy has been a mentor to me, and I've never even met him because I'm reading that book. I'm not just reading the book. I am going over it again. I'm on my second read. I'll start a third read on that book that I'm reading from him right now. And I've read like 5 books of his because he helps me. It connects with me. And so it's kind of like, if this object's here and it can't come closer to me, I can get closer to it. I can move to it. In the same way, I did that with Dr. John Maxwell for years. I didn't have a way to be friends with him, but I went to every time he was in town. I read every book he wrote. His Enjoy Tape Club, back then it was a tape. I listened to it every week and memorized it. I knew his kids' names, everything going on that he would share. I felt like I knew him because I was studying everything about leadership from him. That's what you do to invest. And then guess what? One day I met him.
Yeah.
And then beyond meeting him, he asked me to speak at something. And then now we've traveled all over and we're friends. But do you get what I'm saying?
I think in today's age, you just basically have to say, like, who knows what I need to know?
Yes.
Right? It's not, they're not have to live in my town. It could be a digital mentor that you can study to be able to do
Which
this.
is the powerful reality that we live in, that, in the old days, you didn't have that opportunity. Now you have such access to be mentored digitally.
Well, I think what's
by great
interesting
leaders.
too is if they are somebody that is a professional teacher, they are knowing enough professional teachers, they're giving away their best content in a form that you can access. The difference between you having John Maxwell as an actual mentor of yours and reading his books is not the information that he's going to say.
Right.
It's holding you accountable to actually do that, and you can get accountability from other people.
Yes.
But I think that's a great way to even conclude this. But what I was just thinking when you were talking is how you have to understand that information alone is not enough. You have to have people on your team that are holding you accountable to get you to where you want to go. Like if information was enough, we'd all be billionaires and have 6-packs.
Because it's already out there. The information's already out there, right?
It's already out there and on anything that you really want to know, right? But it's not enough. You still need somebody to help you to get to where you want to go. And that's why a team is so important.
I want to close this out with saying this. If you're a lead pastor and you're listening to this right now, I'd like to be on your growth team. It's everything I ever think about is helping every pastor that I meet help you win. So if you're listening to this right now, we've even got new ways to be involved, for smaller churches. I don't care if you pastor a church right now of 80, if you pastor a church of 200, I don't care where you're at. We want to help you. Please reach out on this YouTube or send us a message, call us, go to our website, Ready, Set, Grow Church or .church and contact us, because I promise you, we will make a way to be on the growth team with you. Yeah. That is our heart, to be a person that can help you in that way.
Really good. Yeah, it's our honor to be on your growth team and be on this journey. If this was beneficial to you or future podcasts are, please make sure that you subscribe. It helps us get the word out to other people that are just like you, that are navigating through some of the same things. So subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family that need help as well. If you want to have us tee something up specifically on one of the future podcasts, just shoot us an email at hey@readysetgrow.church, and we look forward to seeing you down the road.